Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're looking at Dear Desolation, brand new album from Thy Art Is Murder. So Thy Art Is Murder dropped a new album today. Fish, what do you think, man? You hyped for this? You a fan?
I'm hyped for this. I am a fan of Thy Art Is Murder. I got into them when Holy War came out. I really liked that album. I also checked out Hate. That was also a really good album.
Great albums.
I prefer Holy War, but they're both solid albums, so I'm ready for this one. I didn't check out the single yet. Like, I wanted to have a really fresh, open first impression without anything, in my head, just completely open. So I did not check out the single.
Cool.
What do you think?
I did check out the single. I listened to it one time. I can't even remember what it's called. But I'm still hyped to listen to this album. I heard it's one of their best albums out of their last, this is their fourth album. I heard it's the best one yet. So I'm pretty hyped for that. But yeah, we're going to go do our listening session. We're going to listen to it in its entirety for the first time. And we'll be back in just a little bit with our first impressions. So stay tuned. Hey guys, we're back. We just listened to Dear Desolation by Thy Art Is Murder in its entirety for the first time. TV Fish, tell these guys what you think of this album.
I thought this was a pretty cool album. I mean, it's really short, 38 minutes. That's really short when it comes to a musical LP, not even an EP.
Yeah.
And I find that one of the hardest things about making an album this short is that it's hard to really expand your musical diversity. Because the first half of this album was fresh, it had so much going on, it had so many different grooves, it had a lot of aggression in there. But then the second half, I felt a lot of things were starting to get rehashed, and a lot of things it's like, all right, I heard this already, or like there's nothing jumping out at me, there's nothing that was really standing out.
Yeah.
But like I said, that they don't have that much time, I guess, in a way, because every song is like around 3 to 4 minutes.
I found that it was a pretty average length though. Like, we've been reviewing a lot of albums that have been around the 30 to 40 minute mark. So that's kind of like an average these days.
And I felt that the songs felt a lot longer than they actually were because the groove was changing a lot. There'd be a blast beat here, then it would be a breakdown, then it would be a different groove, then back to the blast beat. And it's changing so much, making you think that it's really going all these different places when it's still all in a very short time.
Again, no, I think that's still pretty typical for the genre. They don't really do verse, chorus.
Yeah, it's a lot
it's
more
not a
open.
Traditional song structure. So yeah, let's hear about what songs you like the best and worst.
I'll end with a high note. I'll go to my worst song, which I think was near the end. Yeah, Into Chaos We Climb. This song is the second last song. When it came on, like the groove, it was some syncopated rhythm, and I thought to myself, like, I feel like I've already heard this, like this exact rhythm on an earlier song, like note for note. So it was really like that whole song. I was just kind of sitting there with no reaction. Like, nothing here is new. Nothing here is really special.
Nothing's
it's just
popping out anywhere.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of there and not really surprising me.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, it kind of, was kind of the issue with the album, how it staled out. But my favorite track was the title track. Now, this goes not only for this track, but for the entire first half of the album. You listen to the first half, and it's so angry.
Yeah.
For some reason, like, there's a lot of albums that have a lot of aggression in them, but this one, you just hear it in his voice, you just hear it in the bass, you hear it in the drums, just something so
really
angry.
Tear it up. Yeah.
It's pissed off, and it just caught me by surprise, like, oh my god.
A little more than normal, we should say.
Yeah, a little more than normal.
A little more aggressive than normal.
It has that in there, and it's like, wow, like, these guys are fucking in there.
Yeah.
And the guitar solo was great in that song. I felt the rage. That's what I wrote about it. But the grooves were great. Like, it was in a time of the album where things were still fresh. It was before they already kind of laid their cards out on the table. And then after, I want to say, after Death Dealer, so starting with Man Is the Enemy is when things started to dip down a little bit.
Yeah,
I felt
song 6. So yeah.
So after that, it started to be like, okay, like there's not as much. But Dear Desolation, the title track, was incredible. I also really liked the first track, Slaves Beyond Death, which, like the title track, had a lot of aggression, was really angry. I can't stress this enough, how angry this is sounding.
Yeah.
Like, wow, these guys woke up on the wrong side of the bed and they had something to talk about.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyway, what are your first impressions on this album?
Well, I share a lot of the same thoughts as you. I feel like the first half of the album was definitely the strongest. I felt like with the first 4 to 5 songs, I felt like Die Artist Murder was finally starting to come into their own sound. This is a band that I'm a fan of this band, like we mentioned before, but I feel like they sound a lot like some other bands. Like they remind me a lot of Whitechapel. They remind me a lot of Molotov Solution. You know, there's a couple bands that they really, really sound like, and I found that anytime I wanted to listen to this style of metal, I would just throw on Whitechapel or Molotov Solution. Die Artist Murder every once in a while, but this album, like I said, I feel like they're finally coming into their own skin, and I was really, really happy with that. And the first, like I said, 4 or 5 tracks are mint. Really good, awesome, aggressive, like you said. They really just hammer it home. But then the second half of the album, I feel like they just dive right back into their kind of like their old sound, I guess you'd say. Basically Holy War style. It's not bad. It's not bad. All the songs are still good. But I was sitting there like, you know, what about this song really stands out to me? What about this song really stands out to me? Like, there was nothing really that I didn't like, but nothing was grabbing me. Nothing was poking my attention going, hey, check this out. Whereas, you know, songs like Dear Desolation, the title track, the solo in that song was sick. They had like Slayer-style wails and stuff like that. The grooves were awesome. The double bass on this whole album is insane. This guy's a nutbag on the kick. But it's just, actually, there's quite a lot of awesome drum work. The drums are probably one of the most impressive things on this album for me.
Absolutely.
There's amazing drum work on this album. The rolls, the beats, the fills, everything is just top notch. The way he just busts into blast beats so fast. Really, really top notch stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to listening to this album for the week. I'm gonna have it on my rotation and listen to it as much as I can. And I'm hoping that the second half of the album grows on me. And I'm hoping that I like the first half of the album even more than I did when I first listened to it. So it definitely has hope. It has promise. And I did like what I heard so far.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to giving this one the test of time to see how it will do over the week.
That's the key, right?
It'll be really interesting to see how it all stacks up, especially the second half of the album. I'm really ready to give that one a bigger chance.
The thing with the second half of the album is they changed the tempo and the pace a lot, and they kind of like
It's a lot slower.
Slowed it down and, you know, lowered the atmosphere and stuff like that. It wasn't all just super aggressive. It was still aggressive, but they changed the pace a lot, and they went with a more of a moody type of atmospheric vibe. At the same time, being aggressive. They kind of flip back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt anyway. But you never know. When you listen to something for the first time, sometimes you get a first impression, which is what we're talking about, and then you listen to it again after that, and you feel completely different the second time.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Which is why we're going to take a week, listen to this album on our own,
Yeah.
and then we'll be back next week with our full review of Dear Desolation by Die Artist Murder. Guys, stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe for more. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys next week.